Kevin, I want to extend a warm welcome to you. Thanks for joining the Technology Reseller News Podcast.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting to be here at Enterprise Connect 2026, first year in Las Vegas. So it's exciting and new. This is my 15th year.
Wow.
But it is all new because, of course, it's not at the Kieller Palms in Orlando and it's
Massive
in Vegas.
Change. Massive change.
Yeah, so it's exciting.
For those of you in the audience who are sort of unfamiliar with Kevin Kieller, he's the founder of Enable UC, and he's also head of BCStrategies. He's an excellent analyst, and he's been working in the UC space and sort of adjacent areas for a number of years. We've done some work together as he's been a source of mine, and working together at BCStrategies on some various projects and so on. Kevin, what are some of your high-level observations, if you will, regarding the event? I know it's really been AI heavy.
Yes.
And I wonder, if you've noticed anything in terms of AI as it pertains to the channel and the benefits potentially.
Yeah. Thank you for the kind introduction.
Sure.
And and it's great because this is the first time we're meeting up in person, even though, as you said, we've long corresponded and done some work together. So it's no surprise that this, is about AI. It seems like all the conversations eventually move to AI. The thing that I think is, we're entering 2026. It was supposed to really be the year that, return on investment for AI. So 2025, people said this was okay. You could experiment with AI, but 2026, we're going to figure out the return on investment. I think we're still trying to figure that out. I think there's a lot of people, whether they're customers or the channel or vendors, they're still trying to figure out how to leverage this amazing technology that has lots and lots of potential opportunity. And if you're optimistic, it's going to change the world in a good way. Maybe there's some pessimistic downsides. But I think everyone, even whoever the experts are, occasionally I get called an expert, but quite frankly, I just am continuing to learn. I think we're all still trying to figure it out. But the good news is we know a little bit more than we did last year, and so I see that as a good thing.
And net positive, right? I think what we've seen is that vendors are trying to sell this idea, this vision, right?
Right.
This sort of automated workflow and these sort of automated workers, right? AI agents. That hasn't been fully realized or executed, but these vendors are also trying to get buy-in from the channel partner community. Many are on board, some are not, some are confused, some don't understand what's going on, some don't understand how it fits into their portfolio, how they can actually make money. Again, that revenue element. That's really something that I want to explore. There's a lot of opportunity for revenue, but where does the channel fit in? What is the vendor's responsibility in that regard?
Yeah, and what I would say is, there's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So whether you're an employee, a channel partner, you can see AI as being disruptive to your revenue stream.
Sure.
And there is, let's be fair, there is honestly an opportunity that it is going to disrupt things. But what I would say to the channel is, be experimenting, figure this out, because the vendors, they have good marketing messages, but I think the channel can serve a really good role in being pragmatic, experimenting, knowing how they can match this to customers, because the objective is obviously some of the AI stuff works terrifically well, and some of it is terribly frustrating. And so if you're a channel partner and if you can invest some time and energy in figuring out how to match the real capabilities, not the marketing fluff, but the real capabilities to your customers, I think you can provide lots of value, which of course is going to grow your business, right? So it's a figure out ahead of your customers where the use cases are in the industries and the size of customers that you deal with, and I think that's provide value, right? That's always whatever, serve not sell.
A lot of these partners are actually implementing these technologies inside of their own practice, so they can have these use cases.
Which is a great way to experiment, because now you're actually learning the good, the bad, and the ugly.
You're being your own guinea pig. Right?
Absolutely. And I think that's the best way to learn, as opposed to, it's fine to read the marketing literature, which is always the best case or whatever. But when you get hands-on, And I think the challenge is this is changing so quickly, Marsha. It's like if you try something a month ago, and if it had disappointing results, you really do need to come back, next week and try it again, because it might actually, provide incremental value for your business. So I think that's a challenge for the channel, because it's almost like week over week upgrades, right? And so how do you help your teams, your salespeople, your implementation people, how do you help them stay current? And I think with the pace of change, that's, this is a challenge that I don't know that there's a perfect solution yet.
Yeah, I mean, nothing so viable has really been put forth so far, but I wonder about value. We talk about value. What does value mean? I mean, there's so many ways to measure these sort of new metrics, what is ROI? What is value? I understand outcomes, but how do we measure an outcome? I mean, it's sort of subjective based on the organization, of course.
Yeah, and like I'm both kind of an analyst and a consultant, and in my consultant hat, I do a lot of like strategy, vision sessions, and one of the key things, I mean, for any technology, but I think it's critically important for AI, which is, okay, what does success look like? And you really need to drill down, because I've been in some sessions, and people like to say, and it's an easy thing to say, that AI is going to improve productivity. But the truth of the matter is, I mean, outside, let's say, the contact center or specific roles in your organization, you don't measure productivity. Like a lot of knowledge workers, you say AI is going to improve productivity, and I say, well, what's your current productivity? And of course, they have no idea, because they don't measure it. And so what I would say is, with any technology, but more importantly with AI, it's like, figure out what success looks like, and and push back, and don't say, well, it's improved efficiency. I mean, ultimately, it's like, is it reduced tickets, improved sales? Is it about reduced cost and driving revenue?
I apologize. So, Kevin, I wonder if you can just sort of walk me through this idea, measuring outcomes and value with AI. There's really no definition today, as it pertains to actually doing that, right? How might we actually go about measuring those outcomes and that value that you get? Maybe that's, something like, hey, we were able to save $500,000 on, outsourcing that work rather to AI.
Right.
Maybe that's phone calls, for instance, or something like that.
Yeah. So I think it's a great question. I think it's a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
I think in the contact center space, and that's why a lot of the initial use cases, on AI are in, customer experience, because all of the agent interaction is tracked, and there's all kinds of metrics, right? Yeah. I think, there's soft dollar savings, like, meeting summaries and things like that. But the truth of the matter is, I think if leaders and vendors are honest, those are soft dollar savings.
Yeah.
So if you save me half an hour in my day, I mean, it would be nice to think I use that effectively and do something for the betterment of the organization. But, maybe I'm just like overloaded, and maybe I just take more time for myself. Now, maybe that improves the employee experience. And I think that is super important.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has longer term, benefits.
And you can sort of measure those in the future, I'm imagining,
in the
right?
future, in the future. But this is all new. So this is why I think a lot of the use cases and the case studies we're seeing are in, where there's all kinds of metrics. That could be in sales, because you measure a lot of times, sales have quotas. And so you're measuring, performance of your salespeople, certainly in the contact center, as I said. But I think that this whole return on investment, it's a challenge, because we see certain vendors. So for example, I'm going to say, Microsoft Copilot, $30 per user per month.
Yeah.
If you get 10% of the marketing benefits that I should with AI, it should be easy to justify $30 in a month, right?
What about when we get to the idea of not just an assistant, but actual full-on process automation workflows of digital workers?
Right, because we're all supposed to become agent bosses, right? And, eventually we're going to all just manage agents and what have you. So I think that is tremendously am tremendously hopeful that that will provide value. I think a lot of people realistically are still building trust, and you can build trust with the AI assistants before, so for example, I don't have an agent that somehow says, okay, these types of emails, please just respond on my behalf. Or, hey, when I get meeting requests of this nature, here, I could easily create an agent and say, yeah, accept or decline, or write a polite, decline. But even, I play with all this, like, I'm not there yet. And I think it is a learning and evolution process. And so beyond the technology, it's like with any new technology, it's the change management. It's the people.
Nail on the head.
And there's a lot of people that I think they're rightly scared on, how does AI impact my job? I mean, it's nice to believe that it augments you and you have superpowers, and
this again, that's that marketing jargon.
That's the thing, and that will be true. That is 100% going to be true for some people.
Yes,
but it's not everybody.
Well, we've already seen it. We've seen it with Salesforce. We've seen it with, I don't want to misspeak, but I know there are other companies in the space. UCaaS or CCaaS, like Salesforce, Microsoft, other AWS, who have sort of had layoffs and cited specifically that they've essentially replaced them with AI because it was, quote unquote, capable of handling that workload. So
that's right. Or, and this is like, so for example, we're at an Informa conference. The CEO and CIO, Andrew and Lucy, spoke. And what he said is, we're not laying off people, but we're growing at 20% a year, and we're not hiring new people. So that is way better than laying off people. But also, if you're a new grad, like, where are the new jobs opening? So I think that there is going to be labor disruption, and so 100%. If you're a customer, a channel partner, a vendor, you want to experiment with technology, and AI technology specifically, because that helps you be on the right side. But there is going to be a lot of change, and I think as leaders need to think about, how do they help their people through? How do they be honest? Because there are going to be negative impacts to some people. Reskilling is an option, but it's difficult to reskill everybody, right? So I think that these are challenging times. I love technology. I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic, but I think we all in the technology, we have to do our part to kind of implement AI in a positive and thoughtful way.
It's going to take a lot of action on our parts to make sure that we're being responsible. This is the buzzword.
Be human. AI is great at a bunch of things, but this is a great opportunity to be human, to think about people, to realize they are people, they have families, they have concerns, and to the best of ability. Like, obviously, businesses need to make money, and but at the same time, more broadly, hopefully we can operate in an honorable way with this new technology.
That certainly is the most optimistic thing I've ever heard from a Canadian before. So. Kevin, I really want to thank you, excuse me, tremendously for your time, and thank you for enjoying our coverage here at Enterprise Connect 2026. Hopefully we'll see you again here next year.